Oh, fuck. Another good movie. What you doing to me, 2017? You're making my review so fucking hard. I can't shit on stuff that's amazing. What witty thing am I supposed to say about this? It's a 6 out of 6 claw movie? That's shit. It's cheesy. It's true though. If I was unimaginatively rating this on a scale and changing the word stars to claws in a poor attempt at humour, it is actually a 6-claw movie. It's like the Kenny Omega versus Okada of superhero films. If you didn't get that reference, I assure you it was clever. A very niche audience just smirked, I swear. But yeah, the film's great. It's really fucking great. It's like awesome and shit. Ugh. The final outing for Hugh Jackman as the iconic Wolverine pulls no punches and being a violent and brilliantly poetic end to a somewhat mixed saga. It's great to see his character at least finish on a huge bang. That is, of course, until they reboot the franchise and bring back Wolverine, but this time portrayed by, I don't know, Gerard Butler or some shit, and everyone collectively loses their minds and acts deeply hurt and surprised that the massive corporations behind this franchise would do such a thing. Honestly, it's like they only care about the money. That said, for the time being, we've got a perfect closer, one that says goodbye to one of the longest runs as a superhero in cinema history, that acts as a wonderfully poetic send-off to both the character and the man that played him, which is particularly surprising to me since I consider the main inspiration used for the source material, Old Man Logan, to be a pile of steaming hot trash. Fucking inbred Hulk baby gang warfare, what? Now the thing is, I really want to talk about some of this movie's excellent creative decisions, but I don't want to spoil a thing about this one, so until the post-spoiler section of this review, I'm keeping things as vague as possible. I'm not going to mention a single plot beat, I'm just going to give you my thoughts on what this film both represents and how good it is. So let me just talk for a little about superhero movies. Chances are, you've seen one. They're everywhere these days. Some are good, some are okay, some are Batman vs Superman, but the main point is they're more common than the smell of Lynx Africa on Boxing Day. Since the dawn of the MCU, that is Marvel's ridiculously successful push of a joint superhero fictional setting for all their characters, everyone wants a piece of that cinematic universe pie. And it's easy to see why, considering these films make more money at the box office than Lambrini makes off 13-year-olds. So now we're getting a Universal Monsters cinematic universe, a Call of Duty cinematic universe, and even an M. Night Shyamalan cinematic universe. Who the fuck asked for those last two? So now, because of this massive success, it feels like you can't escape superhero films, as Hollywood releases approximately 27 of the twats per year. They're the new zombies, they're the new westerns, and needless to say, the genre is becoming deeply oversaturated and the cracks are more than starting to show. There's only so many times I can watch a dude in spandex get his mates round for a big punch-up before saving the world. Every now and then there'll be a standout flick, but the formula is really getting tired, even in the stronger titles. We're at a point now where if you make a fairly cliche origin film but stray even slightly from the formula by adding in a couple swears and some dick jokes, you'll be held in a high regard as innovative. Come at me, fanboys. Now the thing is, even the films I fucking adore in this genre, Guardians of the Galaxy for example, is the tits, I don't think are that risky. Some take bigger steps than others towards switching things up a bit, and it's maybe a gamble to go with less recognisable characters from time to time, but they all kind of have the same goofy fun or dark and brooding tone. And the point I want to make is that's why Logan is such a good movie. What's interesting is I'd say that this isn't the best X-Men film, but it is the best film in the X-Men franchise, if that makes any sense. And what I mean by this is that it isn't a superhero movie. I mean, yeah, technically it is, in the same way that technically Adam Sandler movies are comedies, but really it's something else entirely, and that's the biggest praise I can give it of all. The film is just amazing and a complete breath of fresh air in a genre that seems to get more and more paint by the numbers every day. The latest film in the X-Men franchise is Many Things. It's an incredible character portrait of a man with nothing to lose who somehow continues to lose. It's an excellent depiction of fatherhood being forced on an unsuspecting parent. It's even kind of a political statement on the treatment of refugees if you really want to look into it. The one thing it isn't is a superhero movie. Logan is a western that happens to star a dude with claws for hands and adamantium skeleton. It's a homage to old samurai movies about that old legendary fighter who wanders the wilderness that just happens to feature a telepathic in a wheelchair cared for by a mutant Stephen Merchant. It's an intimate character drama that just sometimes features a young lady who can remove heads with pointy swords that shoot out of her feet. It's just brilliant. A truly compelling film that works just as well as a complete standalone flick about growing old as it does a continuation of the blockbusting X-Men franchise. It's got all the ingredients to be a legitimate classic, one that I personally feel indefinitely cements the importance of comic book stories and helps further eliminate this notion that they are quote-unquote lowbrow source material. This film is so good, I defy anyone to watch it and say, it's just another comic book movie. It's a gripping character drama that bounces dynamically between downplayed subtle tension and story and high-octane violent action in a way that paints this gritty portrait of a sad man trying to be good in a world that just won't let him, and that is spectacular. You want to talk about taking risks in superhero movies? In this day and age, there is no greater risk than not making a superhero movie. And that's exactly what the creators did. With Logan, what we got instead was a genre piece. It's one of them proper films with like symbolism and everything. It's got teeny weeny flaws here and there. The start's a little slow, and a charismatic villain with that southern bad boy drawl is for some reason replaced with an evil scientist about halfway through, whose villainous character can literally be condensed into mwahaha, I'm an evil scientist. But that doesn't change the fact it's an absolute belter, and I encourage you greatly to see it. And if you're still not convinced, I'm about to quickly skim through some of the things I found incredible about it and further elaborate on why it's a belter, but that will get into spoilatory, so if you don't want that, turn off the video before we get into those in 3, 2, 1. Logan is rife with clever ideas. Wolverine has real legitimate character growth that not only occurs as a continuation of the narrative, but is also recurrently captured in thematic choices. Logan has become a sadder, lonelier man. And in the narrative, the world is now a sadder, lonelier place. Charles is a broken mess from his former self, all Logan's friends are dead, and a major focus of the movie features child soldier trafficking. I mean, Jesus! The scene where Laura is self-harming with her claws and letting her skin regenerate so she can do it again is some brutal shit to show happening to a child that plays to the creative strengths of the foundations of the character. It doesn't skirt around just how horrible the environment Logan lives in has become, but still gives it that superhero base as a ground for exploring these more intimate issues. I mean, really, the whole film's strength lies in that intimacy. The saddest parts of the film aren't the big heroic deaths. It's more in the subtleties. Wolverine wearing old man reading glasses while squinting at a mobile phone is a fantastically sad sight. It's the film's way of telling we're all going to grow old. Even Wolverine grows old. In a world where superheroes' images are protected trademarks that have to be represented in a certain way, seeing the fucking poster boy for the X-Men put on his reading glasses was truly incredible. It's these tiny things that assure that every single facet of this movie has been thought out thoroughly. It just makes everything so real, you know? You can kill Superman in big monster fights all you like and I won't shed a tear, but you want to make me feel real numb? Tell me Professor X has got Alzheimer's. That shit hits, man. The real highlight, though, has to be the relationship between Laura and Logan. What utter perfection that is. Carried by simply excellent performances from both of the stars, this is one of the most emotionally engaging parental relationships I've seen in ages, and it's full of brilliant creative choices that totally play into the characters and who they are within this world. Let's just analyse their relationship for a little bit to close this one off, because there's a lot to say about it. Obviously, the film's main narrative revolves around them. Logan starts off the film wanting to get away from his past. He doesn't want to be Wolverine anymore. He just wants to keep his head down, forget the painful memories of lost friends, and escape on a pipe dream boat, living in isolation on the ocean. Then suddenly this daughter figure just jumps into his life and changes all that. He initially rejects her presence, possibly because she went through the same experiences as him and thus is a symbol of a past he'd rather forget. So Logan starts the film actively trying to avoid this heroism. He doesn't want to talk to the Mexican girl who says he can save her. He doesn't want to help his new companion Laura. He doesn't even want to talk to Charles about old friends. So naturally, his arc should be one that sees him learn to become a hero again. And what's cool is, he learns to become a hero, but one he's never been before. He learns to be the best hero he could ever be. He learns to become a father. And you know, every single narrative choice plays into that core idea. I mean, let's just look at the surprise villain who pops up about halfway through the movie. a complete clone of Wolverine who kills Professor X. That's interesting symbolism right there. Wolverine is terrified of the past, and a physical manifestation of that past takes away his father figure, leaving him more lonely than ever. And he's only really scared of his past because it makes him feel lonely in the first place. He's scared to care for the little girl because he's scared to care for anyone now. This is possibly the most vulnerable depiction of a superhero we've ever seen, and this is a guy who can take bullets. That's crazy. And that villain, that was a conscious choice for this narrative, because as far as I'm aware, and do totally feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, this particular X-24 Wolverine clone is not a character that exists in the comics. This is something they've invented or chosen specifically for the movie. And this dynamic of Wolverine fighting this clone becomes the whole movie captured in a perfect metaphor. He's literally fighting the man he used to be. He's fighting the man he's trying to escape from. He's fighting all the anger and rage and sorrow of his past, and only through finding a daughter can he finally kill that angry, bitter man. In the closing moments, Laura physically murders the worst parts of Logan. He becomes a better human being in that final act, one who can learn to love again. You know, in those last moments with all the superpowered kids, it's like, just for a few fleeting breaths, just before he dies, Logan gets to be part of an X-Men team again. He gets to be part of a family, even if it's just for that small period of time. Only this time, he's not Wolverine. He's Professor X. He's the mentor that commits to great self-sacrifice and hard work for the betterment of all these young mutants. This is a great metaphor for fatherhood in general. His dad, Professor X, used his skills as a father to make Wolverine a good person. And in return, Wolverine carries on that legacy by saving his daughter and making sure she never becomes a bad one like he did. Everyone in this film is family, and even though the journey is hard and they lose each other along the way, everyone in this film makes each other better through passing on wisdom and being there. And I don't have anything witty to say about that. I just think it's fucking amazing. Okay, so it's not often I do these post-video things, but quick update. Firstly, yes, I did intend to do John Wick 2, but unfortunately between doing an MA, a local TV show, keeping up a YouTube channel, and keeping down a job, life just unfortunately got in the way, and I don't think I'm going to find the time to cover it. I really am genuinely sorry about that. If you want to know what I thought about it real quick, I really enjoyed it, I thought the action was great, and I had a lot of fun. I know that's no replacement for a review, but unfortunately my life's been so hectic lately, I'm really struggling to find the time to do these. Speaking of, that brings me to point 2. I'm off to Iowa next week and won't be back for a while, so there's not going to be any reviews from me on the channel for a little bit. I will be back though, so don't worry about it. I might even scribble down some reviews while I'm over there in my downtime so I can edit them on my return. And I actually plan on launching a whole new series I think you will all enjoy when I get back. For any of you that are wondering why I'm heading over there, I'm going to see my girlfriend at her university, and yes, this is the girl I spoke about at the end of the La La Land review for anyone that cares. Anyway, while I'm here, I know I don't usually do this, but I might as well. Like, subscribe, check out my other videos, yada yada yada, hit the bell thing, you know how this works, go wild.